Hi everybody, Matt Geary for Geek Pride at MCM London 2016. Now, we're here to talk to some of the guests, chat to the fine patrons of this establishment, and we thought, like as we do with most cons, that we would ask the Geek Pride big question. Now, I put a lot of thought into this one, and I was thinking, spoilers. Everybody hates spoilers. But I want to find out what the definition of a spoiler is and how long people think it should be before you can talk about a subject. So we're going to talk to everybody around here, get their views on it, and then put it together into one little sort of Geek Pride montage. Hello, sir. Oh, shit, I'm being arrested. This is Matt Geary, signing out. What do you think is a good amount of time for you to talk about a film and a series?
No amount of time, really, to be honest. I think that if people should be able to speak about the film or whatever they've watched with other people who've seen it. So I may be suggesting like putting up a post, asking people and starting a group or something. Group chats are a good idea because, I mean, people do complain about spoilers because it's inevitable to find them on the internet.
How long should I wait before I should be able to talk about it openly on Facebook, or should I always put spoiler alerts? Should I always sort of be mindful that people may not have seen it before?
Right, I think for me, I'm always mindful of people if they haven't seen it, because you do want to enjoy your show, your favorite show. You've been waiting for, for a week to watch it. I think around a week would be a good period of time to give people a chance to catch up.
I know. Well, I used to work at cinema, so I'm kind of leaving now. But yeah, someone came out midway through the film and just told me the biggest spoiler. So sometimes you just can't avoid them.
I'm here with
Lee Brown
and
Jack Pryor
and the rest of the Ghostbusters. Yeah. Okay, right. So you've just been to see it, right? Let's say you hadn't been spoiled for you. You've just gone and see it, and you want to talk about it with your friends, right? Now, do you feel that it should always be in secret? There's no point in time should you be able to do it openly on sort of Facebook, or like we're talking about it now?
Not really, to be honest. It's kind of an open thing, really, because it's just people have different sort of opinions, and like you're doing now, you're interviewing about it. I think there's no amount of time. You should be able to share it when you want, to be honest.
So it's not really. You would just generally say that you should always have spoiler alerts, no matter what time, no time limit whatsoever. You know, a year, 1 month, 4 months, a year. You should always have a warning there. Is that your view?
Yeah, I would do that.
What's your views on this?
It should never be spoiled. I think if you're going to spoil something, a trial by combat has to happen first. then we can decide from there. Whoever wins, whoever wants to give away the spoiler, if they win the trial of combat, they can spoil away.
I absolutely hate spoilers. I can't stand it. Every time Game of Thrones is on, I can't go on the internet for at least 24 hours. So I think once the episode has released, I think is okay, but I think it's on the other person's behalf to be aware of those spoilers.
And you?
I still haven't put anything on Facebook about Star Wars.
Is that voluntarily or just because it didn't float the proverbial boat?
I'm still, honestly, I cry myself to sleep at night.
I would be the person to do that, because as we were talking about, it's your freedom of speech, but with the freedom of speech comes responsibility, right?
Oh, that's a good one. I like that. Yes, that is very true. Was that hard for you?
You shouldn't have killed.
Oh, spoilers! The irony of it all, talking about spoilers. Okay, and what about sort of say films, so like the new Star Wars or something like that?
Oh, Star Wars. Things like that are a bit risky because it really takes time for people, it's not like an episode thing, it's just a release. So I'd say just give it like a couple of weeks for, box office and stuff to kind of come in, all the tickets and stuff. And then I think a couple of weeks, then it can be a bit more discussy.
I think if it's recent, then you definitely need to put a spoiler warning in, because I've had a few things ruined like that.
Oh, what did you have ruined?
Well, it's actually my other half. The worst one was his friend put on Facebook something that happened in the new Star Wars movie.
When you want to talk about this on Facebook, obviously it's an open forum. You want to be able to talk to your friends. You want to talk to people about the event that you've just watched. You want to, come up with different ideas and things. When is it okay for you to do that on your personal page without having to go, warning, spoilers might be in this? When do you think so?
When do you reckon spoiler warnings no longer matter?
Exactly, that's it. When?
With a TV show like that, I think it's a few weeks before you can really. If it's been a few months, and it's like, to be fair, I mean, you know, people have missed out, they've missed out. And if it's a film that's been out for a few years, it's like you've got to expect you might accidentally stumble upon a spoiler.
So it has come out and is actually officially released worldwide, so in America and UK, all time zones, then I think it's okay to talk about it.
Oh, it's such a difficult one, isn't it? I suppose the thing which I don't tend to put anything spoiler, or now I've said that, everyone's going to say, oh, you have put something somewhere along the lines, knowing me. But I think within a certain amount of time, it's nice to be able to talk about something.
Is there a period of time after you've seen it, so a month later, 2 months later, a year later, where you feel like you should be able to talk about it without having to go spoiler warning, or do you feel like you should always do that?
No, it depends really, but maybe a couple of months at least, because I noticed just a few days ago people were angry about someone spoiling the Star Wars movie, who was premiered in like December.
Right, so you think that's unreasonable?
Yeah, I think it's pretty reasonable, so maybe a month at least.
It is actually really tricky when you phrase it like that, because obviously you've got to deal with who you know, and you just got to sort of think what community you're actually putting these views and stuff across with.
So I need a time from you.
I'd say give it a safe week.
A week, just a week.
Give it a week.
So a week for a series.
Initial release, or the initial release of the series or the film or whatever, and then maybe sort of put a post up, asking to discuss.
So you're a week, but obviously caveat it with warnings. And yourself?
2 weeks.
2 weeks, okay. And you, sir?
Depends. TV shows, 2 weeks. Movies, a month.
Right, okay. And why's that?
Because movies are bigger and they've got more spoilers, possible spoilers in it. TV shows, if you haven't watched it on demand or caught up with it, your own fault.
Not to put anything up potentially spoilery on any kind of social media for possibly a day or so.
Only a day or so.
Let people kind of watch it, if not a little bit longer, rather than going, oh, let's talk about this massive plot twist and here's the plot twist.
Technically, if it's like something that actually could ruin the experience, you should probably always be considerate for it, because the only thing you need to do is say spoiler warning and like press enter twice, then it's done.
It's kind of touch and go, isn't it? Whether you want to give the game away or you don't want to give the game away. You want people hating you for it or loving you for it. There is no wrong, there is no right.
Okay, right. So basically we're saying no time limit. You should always be responsible and mark it as spoilers.
Basically, yeah.
We run a admin group, don't we? It's the Dragon Age cosplay group, and everyone's trying to do all these like Trespasser DLC spoilers, and we're like trying to crack down on it. So we're even struggling to fix a time limit, because we've got people coming up to us and being like, but it's been a year since the game's been released, but some people like myself haven't got next gen consoles, so we can't play it or anything like that. And the same is some people can't afford to go to the cinema, so why should you then say these spoilers about films and stuff?
Okay, interesting.
What do you reckon, Doctor? I reckon with the spoilers, if they're spoilers, put a spoiler warning. If you don't want to watch it, don't watch it. If you want to watch it, watch it. Dark Thor, that's the next big one. Yeah!
For example, on Facebook, I'm quite a prolific ranter. I pontificate on Facebook a lot.
Yeah.
So sometimes I feel like I shouldn't have to mind what I say because it's my freedom of speech.
In a way, yeah.
I mean, I think it's just like conscientious of like what audience that you've got. So in a public forum, you've got all manner of people watching like what you're typing. You've just got to be aware of who might be reading it.
Right. So we'll go around, people. So we'll start over here. So I want a period of time that you think is a good good period of time for you to be able to talk about something freely online.
I think movie-wise, it should be a few months after the film's been released out of the cinema. Whereas when it's in the cinema, like you said earlier, not everybody goes to the cinema, so it's not fair. So I think a couple of months after it's been released on DVD.
So you obviously don't want to have to warn every time. Well, maybe you do. The lady beforehand, she did. So what do you feel? What's a good amount of time?
I think about a month. And even then, I'd say, you know what, guys, should have seen it by now. So I'm putting whatever I want now.
I'd say about a month to 2 months after a film's come out, and at least a week after an episode by itself has come out.
I feel the time that you can actually freely talk about a film should be around 3 to 4 weeks or something like that.
Like certain things have been out for a while. Where's the cutoff point? Where is the line where you're like, do I have to put a spoiler warning on now? Or do you think you should always do it?
If I have to choose one, I would say always be considerate. Actually.
Right. Okay.
That's all right. I think you just got to be conscientious of like what audience you've got. So on a like a personal Facebook account with all your friends, if you're aware that they've seen it and they keep up to date with it and they know that you're going to talk about spoilers, then that's fine. I mean, a lot of people, what they do is they do the asterisks. So then you have to click read more.
As soon as it's come out, the cinema is probably the best time.
What about sort of say series and things like that? Sort of say Game of Thrones.
Probably when the series is finished, or like you can talk about the episode.
I think a little bit, again, like a month or so after it's finished.
But
what's this? What's this asterisk thing? Can you?
Yeah, basically on a Facebook page, or like a post rather, if you put loads and loads of asterisks, like one underneath each other, Facebook will automatically put it into a read more.
Ooh, I never knew that. Very interesting.
A lot of people do that. So they'll put spoiler alert talking about, like, let's say Walking Dead. And then they'll put the asterisks. And then when people click read more, well, if they're spoiled, it's because they've clicked the read more.
You learn something new every day.
Yeah, so that's what a lot of people on my Facebook do.
I have a special point of view on this since I'm a teacher. And I used to, well, very often I threaten my students with spoilers about their favorite shows if they don't behave or just...
Is that really, does that work?
It's really effective, really effective.
Wow.
So I can't say it's a bad thing. Spoilers are sometimes useful.
But again, you've got to understand that not everyone in the world has seen a TV show or a certain film. So even a month or two down the line and you put that up, you're still always going to get that one person going, I ain't seen the film yet, you've spoiled it for me. It's like, well, I did kind of, you know.
I don't think there's ever an exception.
You should always do spoiler warnings.
Yeah, but if it's like something fairly recent, I would give it about a month for people because.
So it's the new Star Wars film. So it's been out for 6 months. Is it okay to talk about it freely without spoiler warnings online?
Yeah, because it's on DVD, it's on release, you can watch it, you can stream it, so it's like there shouldn't be any reason why anyone shouldn't have watched it yet.
Do you feel that you should be able to talk about something freely after a certain amount of time without having to do the code, without doing the spoiler warnings, or do you feel that you should always put the code in?
Well, sort of, if it's been, say, like a year since that episode came out, or we're like 2 series is down and someone's talking about it, then yeah, that you like, if you haven't seen it, then you really should have done.
I think there's always like an exception, but I think after a week, if something's just been released, then I think then you can give as many spoilers as you like. So
after a week?
For a year, it's your fault for not watching it, even not finding out either. If it's just came out the film, you don't want to spoil it, wait a week, and then, you know.
If you haven't seen a film in a year, a couple of months, when do you think, when's your cutoff line where you should be able to talk whenever you want?
I mean, like, you know, I still feel like, you know, once the Blu-ray's out, then you talk about it anyway, like, you know.
Yeah, I agree with that as well.
Do you feel that it should always be vague? If it's not vague, if it's specific, even if it's
because obviously you don't want to like ruin the film for everyone else. So.
Okay. So that's even, say, 4 months down the line, a year down the line, 2 years down the line.
Okay. No.
This is meant to be unbiased, right? You completely disagree with me. Do you think there should be a line, or should you always be responsible?
Say after a couple of months after the DVDs come out, I'll say you're fair game.
Maybe 6 months is probably the cut-off, like, because obviously you've got, like, when it comes out in the cinema, and then some people that don't see it in the cinema, like, wait for it to come out on DVD, and then leave it, like, a month or so, like, after it comes out on DVD, and then, like, I feel like people, if they want to see it, they've been given enough time to not have it spoiled.
So Star Wars, which came out in December, so we're looking, what, six months now? 6 months? So would I be able to talk about Star Wars freely and talk about the spoiler at the end of that without the fear, or should I be able to?
I think so. Now it's been a while, and here I think everyone that wanted to see it, I've seen it already, so it should be okay.
A time frame, I think a month for an episode of a TV show. I think several months for a movie.
Should we always put spoiler warnings? Should you always be mindful about what you say?
I think, because I know some people that just don't go to the cinema. They wait for it to come out on DVD. So I think once it's been out on DVD or on TV for a few months, I think you're okay then.
I think once the film is out in DVD and Blu-ray, and you consider people can have the opportunity of having seen it already, it's okay. I mean, like 6 months to a year, you can talk about it openly.
I think as soon as the next episode airs.
Okay, wow.
I think you should warn when you talk to people. You should warn them firsthand and ask them if they've seen the movie and well how they feel about discussing spoiler.
And what about, do you watch Game of Thrones? So when is it okay to discuss the next? Let's talk about the last episode of Game of Thrones.
If you're talking about with a group of people who've already seen the episode, then you should just like talk about it in your own circle. You shouldn't like publicize everything else. But if you're going to talk about it with people who don't actually know, then you should give it at least like a week for the next episode to air, so you can.
Well, that's quite a short period of time, just a week.
Because like you have a whole week to watch it, and even if you don't, you could just avoid spoilers for everyone.
It's like a month after it comes out on DVD.
After the DVD, then. So you're talking in general, maybe 6 months in total.
Yeah.
When it comes to Facebook, there's different views on it. Some people have said, well, after the next. So if it was Game of Thrones, they would say after the last episode's aired, you can talk about it freely. Some people have said you got to wait for the series to end. Some people have said you should never talk about it without putting spoiler warnings down. What do you think? On Facebook.
I think if you don't want to get spoiled, you should avoid Facebook.
That's fair play.
Unless it's like a cult movie that everyone's heard about, if you ruin it for me, I'm not going to be happy. Like, if you post it, I'm not going to be happy.
Yeah, I think it's generally accepted from everybody that posting things straight away is a dick move, and nobody likes that person. But for example, like Doctor Who. So if you like Doctor Who, if you've seen one episode and then it rolls on to the next week, is it okay to talk about that last episode, or should you wait a couple of weeks, a couple of months?
I think if you haven't watched the episodes by the time the next one's out, it's kind of a given that some people, or most people, have watched it by then. And
so it's fair game, basically.
I suppose it's difficult to say, really, isn't it?
You're a nice guy. You're Superman. You gotta be.
You've got to be the Boy Scout. Come on.
Right. So you've seen the new Star Wars film. It has been out for 6 months now. Okay. Would you still say it's not okay to, and you should always put spoiler warnings like you would do in your thing on your personal Facebook page, just on the off chance that somebody might not have seen it?
I think so, yeah. It's common courtesy and it's just politeness, I think, because the last thing you want, especially if it's something like, we're all really passionate about these things like Star Wars, Game of Thrones. It's a passion for us, not just something we watch as an everyday pastime. And I think there is like a politeness of, oh no, we should really be mindful of other people in this sense. And
is there anything that you haven't seen but you want to see that you would get annoyed that there are spoilers for?
Oh, lots, but I can't really think of anything right now.
Okay, have you seen Star Wars? Yeah. You've seen Star Wars. Have you not? Really? Wow. It's been 6 months now, so by your rationale, it should be okay for me to talk about it?
Yeah, true. To be fair.
Well, this is what happens. All right, no, that's okay. I'll give you an example. One of your shipmates is discussing. He's just seen your new film, and he's discussing with the rest of the shipmates who haven't seen it yet that about what's going on. But he's done it a couple of months later. Is that okay? Like somebody mentioned earlier, that the onus should be on people to be aware, if they haven't seen it, to be aware of what social media they're on and what they're looking at and stuff like that. Would you agree?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's with everything really. Every kind of social media, everything's out there in people's faces at touch of a button, or not even a button, touch of a screen. And you've kind of got to be a bit aware that there are people around who haven't seen the things that you've seen, or don't want things spoilerified.
Or should he always go, spoiler alert, this is what's going to happen?
Yeah, I suppose so. It's common courtesy at the end of the day. If I was going to touch your bum, I'd warn you first.
But where is there a line, though? For example, if somebody was to talk about the old Star Wars series...
Oh, see, that's tricky.
That's that whole point. Where is the line? So it's like, I appreciate that 30 years, but it's like, some people get into things later on. I understand this, but is there a line when you're talking about certain things?
I think in terms of like the old Star Wars films, because they're such a cult classic, and there's memes out there. It's like everyone knows about like Luke and Darth Vader and everything like that. It's so key to our culture that those kind of spoilers, like even if you don't know the films, you know like all the characters.
No, I'm glad. I'm glad. Wow, I just got violated by Darth Thor. Well.
So yeah, at the end of the day, if you think it's going to spoil things for those that are waiting to see whatever it is, the set thing that you're going to see it, then you should always warn them first before they see it or listen to it.
No time limit, so it could be 6 months, a year later.
Yeah, whatever, you know. Just say, you know, if you've not seen it and you don't want to know the storyline, turn off now before I discuss said matter. Hey?
Okay. I knew Darth Thor.
That sounds like Super Sense. Super Sense, Captain Jack.
So when does it become okay though? Is there a line? Because at some point in time, the old Star Wars was new.
Yeah.
So there had to be a line at some point.
I mean, I don't think there can be a time limit.
Really? So you would, you know, for your Dragon Age
Be like polite. So like you don't just go ranting and raving about like certain plot lines.
Would you not think you're sort of impinging on people's free speech by stopping them from saying things?
People from posting, but me personally, I just do like a casual feeler as to like, do they know what I'm about to talk about?
But not sort of old Star Wars.
Just sort of like, yeah, just not charging in there like, oh my god.
So what do we learn from our big question? Well, everyone has agreed that no one likes spoilers, and posting things on your Facebook feed the next day without any warning or at least some sort of code is a dick move. This being said, it would seem we have a broad spectrum of views on when people think it's alright to freely talk about things, from 1 week to always adding warnings. Personally, I think after 3 months across the board is perfectly fine, but I can see people's views when they say you should wait for the Blu-ray to come out. Now, do you agree? Do you disagree? Have you some other opinions on the matter? Then hit subscribe, give us a thumbs up, and leave us some of your views in the comments below.